McLaren almost lost the World Championship this season. And no, it wasn't because the car was slow, and it definitely wasn't because Max Verstappen was out here playing God with a joystick. Nah, it was because McLaren spent half the season acting like picking a main driver was some deep, philosophical life decision. Every race weekend, it felt like they rolled out of bed, stared at the pit wall, shrugged, and went, "Yeah, let's just see what happens." In Formula One terms, that's basically handing the championship over to chaos on a silver platter. Watching them was like trying to untangle Christmas lights blindfolded. You'd think, surely this is the race they finally figure out the number one, and nope, still indecision everywhere.
Huh?
Lando and Oscar were tearing around the track like they'd each downed 4 Red Bulls, while the team acted like it was just a casual Saturday karting session. Even with early season upgrades making the car one of the fastest on the grid by Bahrain, McLaren somehow treated it like Sunday League. Tiny mistakes snowballed, pit timing was occasionally off, and it all made fans think we could literally win everything if only someone actually knew which button to press. The funniest part? McLaren practically warned us last season at Monza. Lando Norris was absolutely flying, pulling away and doing everything right. And what did the team do? They hop on the radio like, "Oscar, can you give the position back?" Everyone watching collectively went, "Wait, they still don't know who their main driver is?" Oscar's frustration was obvious, but he had no choice. That wasn't teamwork, that was pure chaos wrapped in a headset. That Monza radio call, aged like milk, left out in the sun. Meanwhile, the tire strategy that weekend was, let's say, adventurous. Lando was managing his tires perfectly, and then the team nearly ruined it all with a late stop call. The media had a field day joking, "McLaren strategy powered by chaos.exe." It wasn't just a radio call, it was basically a warning to the world that if you're fast, don't expect logic from the pit box. Fast forward to this season, and suddenly McLaren upgrades hit like crazy. The car is glued to the track. Lando is fast. Oscar is fast. Every race looks like a podium opportunity, and the pit wall just standing there. No number one, no priority, just 2 drivers thinking, "Yeah, I'm winning this championship." Which sounds great until both of them believe it equally. Lando and Oscar were both so fast this season, it honestly felt like either of them could win a race in flip-flops, which really shows how strong McLaren's car was. The early season upgrades turned the car into a rocket, and in Melbourne, qualifying, both drivers locked out the front row, making everyone wonder if anyone else even showed up. But even tiny mistakes still mattered, like in Jeddah, where Lando topped practice but made little errors in qualifying, ending up further back than he deserved. In a championship this close, with Oscar even holding the points lead at times, every small slip, every misjudged corner or over-enthusiastic move could instantly turn the race into chaos and give fans a reason to scream at their screens. Coming into Bahrain, McLaren fans were biting their nails. Could the team finally get it together? Oscar Piastri's performance wasn't just a win, it was a masterclass. He led from pole and drove like he had a cheat code for every corner. Meanwhile, Lando Norris fought his way to the podium despite a 5-second penalty, probably muttering, "Are you kidding me?" But McLaren didn't make it easy for them. Pit stops felt like they were choreographed by someone learning dance for the first time, tire strategies were a little all over the place, and the team seemed torn between cheering and panicking. It was like letting 2 kids choose between the same ice cream sundae. You know chaos is coming. The car was lightning fast, but tiny mistakes from the team made it feel like a tightrope walk over a pit full of snapping crocodiles. Piastri zipped through traffic like he was on a joyride, while Norris clawed his way up like someone grabbing the last slice of cake at a wedding. Here's the problem nobody likes admitting: having 2 lightning fast drivers is amazing until they start racing each other harder than everyone else. Suddenly it's not about points anymore. It's all ego. And in Formula One, ego usually ends with cars bouncing off walls and some painfully awkward post-race interviews. By mid-season, Lando and Oscar weren't just following radio instructions. They were reacting instinctively, making split-second calls like they were playing a chaotic, ultra-hard racing video game, dodging cars and debris while pretending the team's frantic messages didn't exist. McLaren let them try different strategies when it made sense, with one doing a 1-stop and the other a 2-stop, so both could genuinely fight for the title. It wasn't simple. Sometimes one driver's plan worked perfectly while the others faltered, turning tiny missteps like a slow pit stop or a minor tire mistake into major setbacks. Managing 2 title contenders was a delicate balancing act, and every decision could instantly flip the championship fight upside down. Watching it all unfold was thrilling and hilarious, because you never knew if the next corner would be a clean overtake or a full-blown circus on track. Then we rolled into Singapore, the ultimate night race where the walls feel closer than your in-laws and zero forgiveness is the rule. Lando spots a gap that probably shouldn't exist and decides to go for it anyway. He somehow avoids Max Verstappen like a magician dodging a fireball, only to clip his own teammate Oscar immediately afterward in the same corner. It was the kind of move that made you laugh, wince, and question physics all at once, as if Lando was collecting Hot Wheels on track, checking off Red Bull, McLaren, and anyone else unlucky enough to be nearby. Oscar's radio response of, "That's not fair," is possibly the most zen moment of the season, calm enough to deserve a meditation award. Meanwhile, the rest of the field is dodging and braking wildly to avoid the chaos, and the faces in the Red Bull garage look like someone just ruined their favorite dessert. Singapore's tight, unforgiving streets leave no room for error, and McLaren's hesitation on critical pit decisions cost them precious positions and points in the championship fight. This wasn't just teammates racing, it was full-on survival mode with everything on the line, leaving everyone watching equal parts terrified and entertained. So you'd think McLaren steps in immediately. Team orders, position swap, something, anything. Nope, they do absolutely nothing. Just, "We'll talk about it later." Later? This is Formula One, not a family group chat argument. And by the time McLaren made a call, chaos was already in full swing. Lando and Oscar were blasting around like it was a demolition derby, positions slipping and fans losing it online. It was like juggling flaming tires on a unicycle, terrifying but impossible to look away. While McLaren is busy being confused, George Russell just casually drives off and wins the race. No drama, no chaos, just clean racing. McLaren still celebrates the Constructors' Championship, but the damage is already done. Norris finishes third, Piastri finishes fourth. The points gap tightens to just 22. That's not comfortable. That's stressful, especially when you realize this wasn't about speed. It was one team executing perfectly while the other hesitated at the worst possible moment, like someone forgetting to press go at the start of a big race. And the wild part is, we've seen this before. Mercedes tried the exact same experiment with Hamilton and Rosberg. No clear number one. Full freedom for both drivers. On paper, it looked brilliant, like letting two kids run loose in a candy store. But fate had other plans. Both title contenders arrived at the same corner full of confidence. One tiny miscalculation later, and suddenly both cars were kissing the barriers, with a friendship uninstalling itself, and the team was frantically rewriting the rulebook mid-season. Formula One has never been subtle about teaching this lesson, and Mercedes' 2016 chaos proved it in the most dramatic, expensive way possible. Even Red Bull had to learn the hard way. They let Max and Ricciardo race freely, thinking it would all work out. Spoiler alert, it didn't. They crashed. Then they crashed again. Engineers were panicking, the team was sweating, and fans were losing it in real time, collectively holding their breath through every corner. Finally, Red Bull drew a line in the sand and said, "Okay, Max is the guy." And just like that, championships started flowing. Funny how decisions in Formula One can turn chaos into gold when you finally pick a driver and stick with them. Monaco was the stage where precision meets insanity. Lando Norris stormed through Monaco, overtaking Leclerc and even Piastri as if he was collecting trophies along the way. McLaren's car dominance was obvious when strategy actually worked. It was like the team finally remembered which buttons to press. Norris navigated the tight streets with incredible precision, leaving fans cheering and commentators scrambling to keep up. Piastri tried to match him, probably thinking, "Is this just luck?" It was a clear reminder that when McLaren gets pace and strategy right, they are unstoppable. Vegas was supposed to be another big moment for McLaren in the championship fight, but instead it became a nightmare. Both Lando and Oscar were running strong, the car performing flawlessly, fans dreaming of a double podium, and then disaster struck. Technical issues hit both cars, leading to a double disqualification that wiped out massive points in an instant. Suddenly, the championship that seemed within reach turned into a high-stakes game of what just happened. The drivers were furious, the team was scrambling, and the fans were collectively throwing their hands in the air. Rarely do you see car failures, not driver errors, not strategy mishaps completely reshape a title battle. But that night in Vegas, McLaren experienced it firsthand. The drama wasn't on the track, it was in the garage, and it was brutal, shocking, and painfully hilarious all at once. McLaren's problem was never about having a slow car. They had the pace, the upgrades, the talent, and everything you'd want. The real issue was commitment. One weekend, they're fully backing Lando, giving him every advantage, and the next race, it's Oscar's turn to have freedom, with the team seemingly shrugging and saying, "Yeah, let them race." That's not strategy. That's indecision in a papaya-colored suit. In Formula One, hesitation isn't just a mistake, it's a luxury you can't afford. Every split-second pause, every delayed call can turn a potential victory into a disaster. Points slip away, opportunities vanish, and suddenly a title fight becomes a lesson in chaos management. McLaren's mixed messages were like giving two kids the same cookie and expecting them not to fight over it, entertaining for the viewers, terrifying for the team, and completely unfortunate for the championship. Lando winning the championship doesn't mean McLaren didn't mess up. Oh no, it actually makes their mistakes look even sillier. When your driver is fast enough to win titles, tiny strategy blunders suddenly feel like catastrophic disasters. McLaren somehow got away with it this time, but next season, who knows, they might not be so lucky. The moral of the story: pick a main driver, back them properly, and maybe stop panicking like it's a group chat argument every race weekend. But in the end, can we call them winners when their driver placed third, regardless of being fast and lost a 100 points gap?